Bases dropped for another round of soccer down here. It's a Freestyle Friday, and after a couple of pieces of news and notes, we'll have the opening kickoff. We'll get into the Weekend Whiparound, patent pending, trademark coming, and we'll go through all of the matchups coming up this weekend, which include Friday Night Football. And we got Nico Moreno to talk about that yesterday and Thursdays with Nico. And since we caught up with him later in the afternoon, it wasn't morning coffee. He was actually with the dihydrogen oxide, Jarrett, and he was trying to stay as hydrated as possible, getting ready for Friday Night Football with LAFC and Seattle. And we talked about how the playoff picture in both conferences is about as crazy as it gets, and really heading into the weekend. And I guess we'll go ahead and make this be the opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee. KickoffCoffeeCO.com on the web, and you can also follow along at Kickoff Coffee CO on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Remember, Soccer Down Here 15 gets you 15% off of your purchase for anything Kickoff Coffee, and remember that 10% of the proceeds go toward youth development, which is something we've always thought has been very, very cool about Kickoff Coffee and our friends at Kickoff Coffee CO on social media, KickoffCoffeeCO.com on the interwebs. And so for the morning kickoff this morning, I guess more than anything, it's just looking at the playoff picture and how crazy it's been. Where in the West, we'll build back toward where we are here in the Southeast, but in the West, you have teams 3 through 9 separated by 5 points heading into the weekend. Minnesota's at 34, RSL's at 33, FC Dallas 32, Nashville's at 31. Galaxy snapped their 3-game losing streak with the win over Atlanta United. They're at 30. They have 2 more wins and 1 less match played than Portland, who is at 7, 9, and 6 and 30 points in 8. Seattle snapped their 3-game losing streak with a win last time out against Colorado. And we've been talking about that win all week. And if you missed Nico's comments about the set piece and the oopsie from Pro, that is on our conversation as well. Seattle right now, 5 points back from third in 9th place at 29 points. And in the East, if you thought that group was crazy, you have 9 teams basically chasing 3 playoff spots. You've got or as Greg Garza refers to it, Orlando at 30 points and 8 wins, 22 matches played, ahead of Columbus, who's got 7 wins. FC Cincinnati has drawn 4 of 5, which is weird, but they've drawn 4 of 5. They're at 28 points. They're in 7th. Charlotte's at 26 points. They've lost 2 in a row. They're in 8th. Chicago with Big Shaq and Jean Duran and everybody, they've won 3 in a row. They've rocketed up the table. They're at 26 and 9th, 26 in 10th with 1 less win. At 6 are the Revs, who've lost 2 of their last 3. Inter Miami's at 25, Atlanta United's at 24, and then I guess you could include Toronto FC into the mix at 22. And right there, you've got that group from 5 to 13 separated by 8 points, 5 to 12 separated by 6. So, Jarrett, when you look at the playoff races here in the West and the East, it's nothing that we haven't been saying all season long, but that's just the personification of crazy this week.
It is, and it's going to continue to be a dogfight, especially when you look out west. When we look at where they sit on points, Portland's just outside the picture. Seattle and Vancouver, all of Cascadia sitting right there. Houston, if they can figure out how to win games on the road, maybe they get interesting about that sort of thing. I think that's kind of where it ends. I don't really have a lot of faith in Colorado to get involved in all that mess. But then, you get above that. It seems like LAFC and Austin have really separated themselves. Minnesota leads the next part of that group in third, who have really come on strong since inking the contract extension for Inchy.
Yeah.
And they've done really played really well. I mean, had some games that they've had to squeak out and had some good performances, and they've rebounded really well after a really tough stretch over the summer. They're sitting in third place, and they're sitting there with 34 points. So it's a gaggle of teams, and they're kind of leading that gaggle, whereas Austin and LAFC are where you want to be. You're outside of that gaggle. You have wiggle room. You have a little bit of room to breathe. As far as like the East goes, it's kind of a similar situation, and Montreal kind of brings up the rear there because it's one of those things where Philadelphia's sitting at 42, Montreal's sitting at 4th at 35, but then you have Orlando at 30 points, mentioned, and then all the way down to, even Toronto at 22 points and 13th behind Atlanta, involved in this fight. And you want to be up in that Montreal area where you have a little bit of wiggle room. Where Red Bull's at 36 points, where you have a little bit of wiggle room. You're not having to watch the results every week. It's what you aim for in the season, is to be in a spot where you can breathe.
And a couple of pieces of news before we get into the weekend whip around. Patent pending, trademark coming, hopefully. David Ochoa, and we talked about this on yesterday's show, where Pablo Mastroeni said publicly that he wasn't practicing the way that he should have been, and he got into the details as to why David Ochoa was not part of what Real Salt Lake was doing. And it looks like DC United, as they continue to turn their roster over, DC United to acquire David Ochoa and put him as a part of the discussion between the sticks. This was an interesting pickup that kind of flew below the radar. DC United and David Ochoa.
Yeah, it's going to be a very odd one to watch because you still have Bill Hamid still in DC. Hamid's been there for a long time. Left, came back. He's been that guy. The trick here for DC is they have to sign Ochoa to a new contract. I believe his contract is up this year.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't get that done, he walks for free. So you need to figure out if you can get him signed. And I assume that might have been part of the conversation to get him in there. But yeah, it's got to be an awkward room for the next couple of months because it feels like Bill Hamid's replacement's in the building.
Then the other thing from Tommy Scoops that came out late Thursday afternoon, Josie Altador. How many? Was it 37 years that Josie Altador had been linked to a move to Liga MX? And so now officially, it looks like Josie Altador nearing a loan to Puebla. Loan will last till the winter of 2023. Bruce Arena told the media yesterday, to quote, he, meaning Josie, will be going until January to Puebla FC, and Josie initiated that loan. So Josie Altador heading to Liga MX, heading to Puebla, and for the longest time we'd heard that there was interest, and right now you look at the standings, Puebla, and it's early. It's you're only through week 5 of the Apertura, but Puebla 8 points. 2 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Right now, they're 5th in the table, but they're in they're in the hunt, but it's early on. But Josie Altador finally to Liga MX, Jarrett.
Yes, finally happening, and he needs to go somewhere to play because it's not going to happen in New England. Had a bit of an outburst. It's just the time is done here. Go somewhere else.
Yep, and that'll be our opening kickoff for our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com, and you can go on social media, Kickoff Coffee CO on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Remember, use the code Soccer Down Here 15, and it gets you 15% off your purchase when you invest in Kickoff Coffee, and they invest in the youth game with 10% of their proceeds heading toward youth development. Very, very cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee. Before we get into the weekend whip run, the National Soccer Hall of Fame announced their eligible candidates for 2023. And the first year ones, 13 former MLS stars, DeMarcus Beasley, Dwayne De Rosario, Landon Donovan, were named first-year eligible candidates. They joined a group of 156 that were named across 3 categories: player eligibility, veteran, and builder, with 6 earning induction to the Fame's class of 2023. The players list 14 finalists from last year: David Beckham, Laurie Chalupny, Brian Ching, Mo Adu, Thierry Henry, Lauren Cheney-Holiday, Eddie Johnson, Showery Joseph, Robbie Keane, Pablo Mastroeni, Josh McKinney, Gucci Onyewu, Carlos Ruiz, and Kat Reddick Whitehill. Beckham, Ching, Mastroeni, and Kevin Hartman are in their final year of eligibility on the player ballot. If they're not selected, they move to the veteran ballot for the 2024 election. So there was a lot of interesting names that were a part of it. And, Jarrett, you go down into the lower sections of the alphabet, the second half of the alphabet. Chad Marshall, Michael Parkhurst, Chris Pontius, Nick Raimondo, Jonathan Spector. So Michael Parkhurst and Jonathan Spector have been attached to the new list for first-year candidates. Very, very cool stuff out of the Soccer Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting to see who gets in on this run. I feel like every year we get at least one name where we go, really, they didn't make it? So it'll be interesting to see who it will be this time.
Yep. All right, weekend whip around time. And so what that means is we go through all of the games and we sit there and look at the juice boxes and tell you the direction we think, which is traditionally the wrong direction to go. And it starts with Friday Night Football, LAFC hosting Seattle. LAFC is a minus 182. Your draw is a plus 332. Seattle is a plus 445. And this one is slated for 11:15, and it's on FS1. So it's the longer pregame show, but not the super mega pregame show on FS1. Fun facts. The Sounders have managed just 1 point in 5 regular season visits to Bank of California Stadium, including a 3-0 loss last October with the lone result of 1-1 draw in April 2021. Sounders' only win at LAFC came in the biggest meeting between the teams, the 2019 Western Conference Final. LAFC's won 7 of 9, D1 and L1 to go with that Borg, including 3 in a row. This is LAFC's 5th 3-match win streak since the start of last season, though they haven't won more than 3 straight since a 5-match run in July and August of 2019. Sounders have lost their last 2 away matches, both by 1-0 scorelines at Nashville and Chicago. In fact, Seattle suffered 4 1-0 away defeats this season, twice as many as any other team. Chicago, Miami, and Toronto have 2 each. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Do you have numbers again? Sorry.
Yeah, LAFC, minus 182.
Mm-hmm.
Draw, plus 332. Seattle's 45. Mm-hmm.
LAFC. I can't talk myself into that. Not in good faith.
Yeah, I can't either right now. And Seattle, as a matter of fact, has to turn around, and they play FC Dallas at home in the midweek. So they go Friday, Tuesday. That's going to suck for Seattle. They've got to turn around, but they've got FC Dallas coming home. I'm going to go with LAFC in this one as well. Saturday, boatload of games. Minnesota United and Portland at 3 o'clock Eastern time. That's an interesting kickoff. So it'll be 2 o'clock local. Minnesota's a minus 122. Your draw's a plus 288. And your visiting Portland Timbers are a plus 300 in this one. Fun facts at Allianz Field. And this one is going to be a 3:08 kick on ABC and ESPN Deportes. Minnesota United a perfect home record against Portland in MLS play, winning all 4 meetings in the Twin Cities, each by a 1-goal margin. Minnesota is the only team the Timbers have played more than 2 away matches against without ever collecting a point. After collecting 18 points in their first 16 games, 5 wins, 8 losses, 3 draws. This season, Minnesota's unbeaten in their last 6, winning 5. 16 points since late June are the most in a 6-game span in the Loons MLS history. And the Timbers, unbeaten in 3 straight away matches, a win and 2 draws, have not won outside of Cascadia since their playoff victory at the Rapids last Thanksgiving. Portland's only 2 away wins of 2022 came in Vancouver and in their last away match in Seattle. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
I say Minnesota gets the job done again. I could see this being a weird game that ends in a draw. Portland does some weird stuff. Portland's been really PK happy lately, but that's kind of my heart. My head is saying go with the Loons until they prove you otherwise, because they are on a hell of a run.
Yeah, and I've got to go with Minnesota in that one as well. I'm right there with you at the minus 122. 7 o'clock, Charlotte and Columbus. Charlotte's a plus 141. Your draws a plus 235, and Crew are a plus 190 as Charlotte returns to Bank of America Stadium. With the 7 o'clock kick, it turns into a 7:08 kick, and it's on it's on ESPN plus local TV on both sides. This will be the second MLS meeting between Charlotte and Crew, with the sides drawing 1-1 in Columbus back on June 18. Crew are unbeaten in their last 6 matches against expansion sides, win 3, draw 3, including the playoffs, dating back to the start of the 2019 season. Charlotte returns home after a pair of road losses, having won 7 of its first 10 home MLS games. Charlotte's the 3rd expansion team in MLS history to win at least 7 of their first 10 home matches, after Chicago in 8 in 98 and Atlanta 7 in 2017. Crew are unbeaten in 9 straight matches, win 4, draw 5, longest active streak in the league. Following a scoreless draw against New England on Saturday, Columbus has just 2 double-digit unbeaten runs in its MLS history, going 12 in a row without losing in 2017, 18 straight without a defeat in 2004. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Ooh, does Columbus keep it going?
I think so.
That's the grand question here. I think they do too.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I've got to go with Crew in this one, and I'm going to start for the 38th week in a row Lucas Zelarayan and Cucho Hernandez, and probably Captain Cucho in this one as well. 7:30, probably one of the matches of the weekend. CF Montreal, soon to be Impact, probably hopefully hosting NYCFC. CF Montreal, a slight favorite at home at a plus 146. Your draws a plus 270. NYC on the road at Stade Saputo is a plus 160. Looking for fun facts in this one. And when you're processing this one from Stade Saputo, traditionally one of the toughest places to play, 7:38 kick on yes. NYCFC has won 4 of its last 5 matches against CF Montreal with only 1 loss, including a 4-1 win on March 12. NYCFC has never lost a match in Montreal. 4 of them wins, with Montreal's only home win coming in a match in Harrison, New Jersey in 2021. CF Montreal recorded a 2-1 win over DC United on Saturday. Second consecutive win, marked the league high 9th time this season. Montreal's won a match by a 1-goal margin, with each of the club's last 5 league victories coming by a goal. And NYC's 2-0 win over Inter Miami on Saturday was its 4th straight win, equaling the club's longest winning streak of the season, 41 points in 2022, the most by a reigning MLS Cup champ 21 games into their title defense in league history. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
I say I trust Montreal to continue things at home.
I'm right there with you. I think that Stade Saputo is one of the toughest places to play.
Not where you want to play.
No.
Not where you want to be.
And you've been there, so you know this firsthand of what CF Montreal.
Love those people. So much fun. Such a fun crowd. I love them.
And just as long as they're ringing the bell for any other team other than your own, that's really all that matters. I think CF Montreal gets it done as NYCFC in their first Tati-less
Even at a draw, they were so much fun.
I've got to go with Montreal here. I think NYC is going to take a little while to figure out who they are after losing Tati Castellanos. Also at 7:30, Philadelphia hosting Houston. Philadelphia is a minus 147. Your draw is a plus 281. Houston's a plus 400. Do we even need to go into fun facts?
No.
That's what I figured. I'm going with Houston, too. 8 o'clock, Inter Miami and FC Cincinnati. Inter Miami's a plus 106. Your draw is a plus 265. FC Cincinnati is a plus 231 at DRVP&K. And your fun facts for the 8 o'clock kick, which really is an 8:08 kick, and it's on local TV on both sides. FC Cincinnati won their first match against Inter Miami this season, a 3-1 home victory on March 19. Miami had won each of the previous 4 MLS meetings between the sides, including the 2 games in Miami by a combined score of 7-2. Inter Miami's won 6 of their last 8 home matches, draw 1, lose 1, 6 W's. After opening the season winless in 3 straight at home with a draw and 2 losses. Since the beginning of April, only NYC, with 24 points, has collected more points at home than Miami has at 19. Cincinnati drew for the 6th time in its last 8 matches, with only 1 win and a loss, a run that came after drawing one of its previous 30 games when they lost 22 of them. Cincinnati's form is in the eye of the beholder, according to our compiler of all the MLS notes, having lost only 1 of its last 8, but having only won just 1 of their last 10. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Draw. I think Cincinnati's just a draw machine right now. And Miami's good, but kind of inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sold on either one of them. Give me the draw.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think it's a wacky, rain-aided, rain-delayed draw in Fort Lauderdale at DRVP&K. I'm right there with you. The next 2, we may not even need to go into fun facts on either one. Nashville at 8 o'clock hosting Vancouver. Nashville's a minus 156. Your draw's a plus 280.
That could get a little trickier. Vancouver's not great, but Nashville refuses to actually get into gear.
At a plus, and Vancouver right now is at a plus 4.25. And the reason I say, Vancouver and Toronto, because of the Canadian Championship that happened midweek, the Revs are a minus 161 at home. Your draw is a plus 326, and your Toronto FC to win is a plus 374. So the juice box purveyors have very little faith on an emotional match, on a quick turn, having to travel again, Vancouver having to go from one end of the world to the other. Home match at BC Place, they go to Nashville, then Geodis. Toronto, playing in the midweek, goes from Vancouver to Toronto to Regen to Boston. So do we even need fun facts in either of these? I'm going to go chalk here. I'm going to go Nashville and New England. What about you?
Yeah, I'll go both of those, although I think Nashville and Vancouver could get a little tricky, but I'll go chalk on it.
All right, 8:30. Sporting Kansas City. You'll enjoy this one. Sporting Kansas City and Austin FC. Your numbers right now. Sporting Kansas City a plus 154. Your draw is a plus 261. Austin is a plus 156. So basically, what you're telling me is Sporting Kansas City, after traveling to Sacramento, getting Panenka in the bottom of the fourth, and losing in penalties to Sacramento Republic in the midweek in U.S. Open Cup, you're telling me that that bunch, having traveled to Sacramento and having to travel home for a night game on Saturday against Austin FC, is a slight home favorite in this one? What am I missing here?
The fact that MLS is one of the toughest leagues to win on the road, full stop. That's the only thing I can think of.
Okay.
Because it is. MLS is one of the toughest leagues to gain road wins in. And that's never changed. And I don't know that it ever will. And it's something that can come across as very excuse heavy at times. But yeah, teams don't necessarily play well on the road in MLS. Don't know.
20% conversion rate. What was the number? Is it 15 to 20%?
I forget.
Right.
It's something else. I mean, it's just the way the league is. It's some of it has to do with the fact that the United States is ginormous and is an incredibly diverse situation where, yeah, man, you might have one weekend where you got to go play in Minnesota where you might get carried off by a mosquito in like a mild humidity. Then you might have another week where you got to go down to Miami or Orlando or even Nashville, where it's going to be blistering. We saw it last night with Red Bulls. Like Red Bulls literally just ran out of gas last night, man. They're just ran out of gas. It's tough to win on the road in this league.
Yep.
And for some, that's not really an excuse, because you see teams perform well on the road and not get it done, so it gets doubly frustrating. But yeah, it's tough to win on the road. So I think that's why you're seeing those numbers.
Fun facts: the three meetings between Sporting Kansas City and Austin in 2021 were split, each side winning once and drawing once. Both teams scored in all three meetings, including both in Kansas City, where Sporting recorded a win and a draw. Sporting has lost 4 straight home matches in regulation for the first time in the club's MLS history, following the loss to LAFC on Saturday 2-0. Sporting did lose 5 straight home matches, including a breakaway shootout loss in the fourth match of the streak from September 98 to April 99. Austin's collected 23 points on the road this season, tied for the most in MLS with Red Bulls. Austin's unbeaten in their last 5 on the road, 4 wins. Longest away unbeaten run in club history, tied for the longest active streak in the league with Columbus. 9 o'clock, FC Dallas and LA Galaxy. FC Dallas is a plus 116. Your draw is a plus 260, and the Galaxy on the road are a plus 216 as they head to Toyota Stadium. Fun facts in this one. We'll go ahead and go fun facts. 9 o'clock kick at Toyota, and it means 9:08 with local TV on both ends. FC Dallas has won consecutive home matches against the Galaxy dating back to 2016. Dallas has recorded one longer home winning run against the Galaxy, winning 6 straight from 2004 to 07 at home. Dallas snapped a 7-match winless run, 4 draws and 3 losses with the 1-0 win at RSL on Saturday. The victory gave Dallas 10 points in their last 11 matches after collecting 22 points from their first 11. Galaxy won their last 2 matches in Texas, winning at Houston in October and Austin on May 8th, following a run of 9 straight visits to the Lone Star State without a victory, 7 of those losses. The Galaxy won 3 straight in Texas trips only once, 96-97, when Dallas was the only team in the state. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Yeah. Thinking draw, honestly. Yeah, give me the draw.
I'm right there with you. I think that Areola and Velasco score for Dallas, and I think that you end up with the Bishop scoring off the bench again for Galaxy and Joveljic, and they probably end up. And I'm not going to give it to Kevin Cabral. I'll go chalk and give you something like Chicharito or Raveloson or something like that. So 2-2 draw with Dallas and the Galaxy. 2 more matches for the week.
Yeah, I think the Bishop said he was the future of the Galaxy, and somebody, I think it was one of the Galaxy websites, was like, "Nah, man, you're the now. You ain't the future, buddy. You're here now. You are the now."
You're not kidding. Now this one should be fun for you. 10 o'clock, so it's MLS After Dark on Saturday night. San Jose hosting RSL. San Jose is a plus 121. RSL draw option is a plus 261. RSL to win is a plus 202. Fun facts from PayPal Park. 10 o'clock is when it's listed, so it means it's 10:08 local both sides. RSL recorded a 2-0 win at home over San Jose June 18th in the first meeting of the season between the sides. RSL last beat the Earthquakes twice in a single season in 2013, winning in March and June before losing in September. San Jose's lost 2 straight, first time it's recorded the same result in consecutive matches since a 2-match losing streak in March. The first of those losses, a 2-1 home defeat to Houston, is the Earthquakes' only home defeat since opening the season with a 3-1 loss to the Red Bulls in February. RSL has won only one of its last 9 away matches, 6 of them losses, including losing the last 3 in a row. All 3 matches in that losing run have come by 1-goal margins. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Give my Quakes 3 points, for God's sakes. Give them something to be happy about. Give me the Quakes. Against all logic, against all odds, against all reason and common sense. Do not ever trust me. Do not ever take SDH as a betting advice syndicate. Again, I have updated my profile on Twitter because it says I'm a lifelong fan of any team that has never played a normal game, and that includes you, San Jose. Any team that does not want to play normal sporting events, yeah, you got my vote. That's why I have a San Jose parlay jersey still hanging in my closet.
Absolutely true. I'm gonna go different here. I'm gonna go the over. I'm gonna take a total here for this one. Looking at the over under. Over under at 2.5 is a minus 145. Over under 3.5 is a plus 168. I'll start there. Over under at 4.5 is a plus 380. So I will take the over under at plus 168 at the bare minimum for San Jose and Real Salt Lake. It's probably for me going to be another crazy 2-2 draw. Last match on the weekend, DC and Orlando, as Greg Garza now refers to them here on the network. Audi Field, 5 o'clock Sunday afternoon, and it is on local television on both sides, and plus ESPN Plus. So looking at this particular matchup, once again, the juice boxes are a composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. They take about 17 different juice box purveyors, throw them into a pile, give an average. DC United is a plus 131. Your draw's a plus 244. Orlando City's a plus 196. Once again, I think taking into consideration the fact that Orlando City played Red Bulls in midweek and are now having to pack up their bags, travel to DC, and take on DC United. Stephen Goff reported yesterday no word on whether or not Wayne Rooney's work visa had been finished/approved to whether or not he could be on the touchline. So obviously we'll keep an eye on that. Ravel Morrison could be active for this match for DC United up against Orlando City. Fun facts for a 5:08 kick. DC beat Orlando City 5-3 on July 4th, which was absolutely crazy, equaling the highest scoring match in Orlando's MLS history, the 5-3 loss at NYC in 2015. DC's won 4 of its 6 home matches against Orlando, though the Lions won their last visit to Audi Field, a 1-0 win in May of 2021. DC United's 2-1 loss to Montreal on Saturday was its 7th defeat in its last 10, with only 1 win in that bunch. The lone victory in that time, the victory at Orlando. DC has conceded multiple goals in each of its last 6 matches, 19 total, having only one longer such run in the club's history, 8 straight in 2000. Orlando City has lost only 1 of its last 6 away matches, drawing 4, including drawing the last 2. The Lions have lost only 2 road matches this year, tied with the Philadelphia Union and Crew for the fewest in Major League Soccer. What say you, Jarrett Smith?
Give me Orlando dropping this one just because they played not for any bad reason other than the fact that A, they are the most schizophrenic team in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And B, they just played an emotionally exhausting game where they beat Red Bulls like a rented mule.
Yep. And I've got to go. Do I trust DC United enough to get a full result here? I don't think I do.
A draw's not a bad idea here at all.
Plus 240.
And you might think that DC is broken enough to not even get that. And that's a fair argument.
Yeah.
Like, very much so. I'm going to take DC straight up as this is the pick that Jason would usually ask me if I was high.
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't trust it. I really don't. I think that Orlando got enough emotion out of that one. I think that, yeah, okay. I'll go draw to plus 244. It's the larger number. All right, so let's get into Chicago and Atlanta. 5 o'clock in Chicago. And broadcast announcement, Mike is going to be on TV with Mo. And that means that Jason is doing it solo from Soldier Field, 5:08. So it means 4:30 Eastern time on 92.9 The Game is the Five Stripes pregame show. Jason calling it Han Solo at 5:08, and then they'll do post match after that. So it'll be Mike and Mo calling it on Bally. So we'll keep an eye on that one as well. And wishing Mike, as always, the best on the TV side of things. So looking at Chicago and Atlanta, and I know that Gonzalo Pineda has had his press conferences this week. Chicago has won 3 in a row, and right now they are storming up the table in the gaggle, the hashtag gaggle in the East. But with what we saw from Atlanta against Orlando last time out, the firepower's there. They did basically everything humanly possible except put the ball in the back of the net. And once again, on the road, Jarrett, like what happened in Los Angeles, you cannot go down early.
We've seen this for the last month now with Atlanta United. The first 15 minutes have dictated the game. Do they get that early goal and do they get up? Or do they give up that early goal and they go down? And then they have to fight back the whole way. And if they do, can they maintain the energy? Can they go chase and find a goal? They've got to be on the front foot early, and it's going to be tough. Chicago has been an absolute house of horrors the last 2 times they went there. They have been run off the field. They've got to figure that out because you can't keep dropping. And look, I literally just said MLS is one of the toughest places to win road games on this planet. You got to find a way because you've put yourself in the kind of hole that you have to find a way. The end.
Yep. We'll keep an eye on that and see what happens with Chicago and Atlanta on Saturday afternoon, 5:08 Eastern Time, 92.9 The Game, and on Bally Sports South. In the other divisions, in the USL Championship, I think we can talk about this. USL Championship, it is the two of us that are going to be calling Atlanta United 2 and Las Vegas Lights on Saturday night at the Fraction. And so Vegas lost in the midweek to San Antonio. It was at Cashman Field, so it was a home game. But
I mean, San Antonio's been trucking everybody in existence.
Yeah. 7:36-ish kick at the Fraction. Atlanta United 2 hosting Vegas Lights. Vegas Lights play in the midweek. They lose in the midweek. I want to see what the Vegas team looks like when it comes to lineup. I want to know what kind of rotation they're going to have, having played such, as you said with others, such an emotional match in that particular game. Then you're having to fly to Atlanta from Vegas. So basically what happens is you play Wednesday night, you region on Thursday, and then you're probably hopping on a plane Friday to get to Atlanta Saturday to play. So there isn't a whole lot of time here for Vegas to do anything to get squared away going up against Atlanta United 2 in an East-West crossover. And Vegas right now is 6th in the standings in the Western Conference at 31 points. So it's an interesting crossroads for Vegas here, in this particular match, where going into that game, they had won 3 of 4 in the midweek going up against San Antonio before losing 2-0. So what does Vegas look like? I think it's a prime opportunity here for Atlanta United 2 to grab some points off a team that's in the Western Conference playoff hunt.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough like it always is because it's adults coming in. and they're going to be tired. They might be rotated, but they're going to be coming in. They're going to play you physical, and they're going to probably cede some possession to you. And just if nothing else, to save their legs a bit. But they're going to certainly put up a fight. How are you going to deal with it? You're going to have to handle the physicality of it when they push. You got to be able to push back. We'll see if they're able to do that. I think they are, but let's see.
Atlanta United comes in with 15 points with a record of 4-15-3. A win would get them above Hartford Athletic and put them in 10th place in the Eastern Conference. And there are two distinct groups in the Eastern Conference. You have the 7 that are chasing the playoffs and are pretty much locked in. Then there's a 6-point gap between the Miami FC, although I'm waiting for the folks in Columbus, Ohio, to send a cease and desist letter to the Miami FC, considering that the word "the" has apparently been patented and grabbed by the Ohio State University. I'm still waiting for that particular move to happen. Below the playoff bar, FC Tulsa, Indy 11, who snapped a 4-game losing streak. They have been awful lately. Hartford Athletic, Atlanta United, Loudoun, Charleston, they're all in that little group. The Red Bulls have only won 2 of 20 this year, one of those coming 2 matches back in a win against Indy 11. So it is Jason and Mike doing the first team, Mike on the TV side, Jason doing radio, Jarrett and I doing the twos, and it's going to be a very, very busy weekend for all of us. And I think that officially, is there anything else that we're missing heading into the weekend? Euros is this weekend. What else is on the palette? Is there anything else that?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, we'll get a better idea of how Europa League and all that and Europa Conference League look next week. But yeah, I think right now, that's pretty much our palette is women's Euros and a lot of USL, League One, League Two, and Championship action and MLS action.
Yep. So before we go, let me cut a promo. The promo comes from our friends at Eliminize Service for odor-free, clean, fresh air. One place you need to go. It's Eliminize. Eliminize Service deodorizes enclosed spaces like houses, apartments, and condos. They've created a customized solution that eliminizes all organic odors, including those like pets, cigarettes, and food. Realtors and property managers use Eliminize Service to eliminate bad odors to help them sell or rent their homes that much faster. It's a turnkey process. Makes it easy to work with realtors and property managers. Kind of the environment we like that these days, a very green way to go about things, getting rid of odors without any kind of toxic residue. Different than Febreze or whatever our favorite masking agent is in the cupboard or under the sink, because when you reach into the cupboard or under the sink and you spray the masking agent, that's all it does. It masks the odor. It doesn't attack the problem all the way down to the molecule, as Eliminize does with their proven scientific formula. Pricing easy, either by cubic feet or parts per million, to come up with a price that's affordable for you, offering results in 24 hours or less. Go to the website, eliminize.com, but do us a favor. You go /Atlanta after the .com so they know what part of the world that you are addressing them from so they can help you with your problems. ELIMINIZE.com /Atlanta. Eliminize.com/Atlanta for odor-free, clean, fresh air. Eliminize Service, proud sponsors of everything SDH. It's going to be a very fun weekend, a very full weekend. Greg Garza and our conversation with Beyond Goals Mentoring is coming up a little later on here on the network. It was a fun one because we talked about, Jared, I haven't asked you. What about the result from Sacramento, especially in the PKs, where Malik Foster went full-blown Panenka in the bottom of the 4th?
He went full Panenka. Then he does the flip, then he does the Steph Curry. I mean, it's one of those games though where
and the finger
Kansas City dropped 30 shots on them. 14 of those shots were blocked. Sacramento survived and got at the penalties where it became a toss-up. It was great work from them. It was great resilience. They were able to get it to that point, and some really impressive fight from that team. Now they got to go do it in Orlando. Orlando has not played a road game in the U.S. Open Cup since the 4th round of 2019 when they went to Memphis 901.
That's crazy.
Their next 3 home games in 2019 were at home. 20 and 21 didn't happen, and they have played at home this entire sequence, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
It has been insane. Orlando has not had to go on the road since they went to Memphis. They won that game 3-1. This is Orlando's chance at a first real trophy. This will be a very interesting game in early September. the pressure will be on Orlando. How do they handle it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know there's pressure on Sacramento, of course, because they're a USL team with a chance here to become, immortalized basically in the modern era.
Yeah. So
But
that's
you're Orlando at
yeah.
home
Uh-huh.
against a USL team. If you don't win it now, you're going to ask yourself, what do we have to do to get a trophy?
Mm-hmm. And if you lose this go around to September 7th, I think tickets have officially gone on sale to the general public. I want to know how many folks are traveling from Sacramento. I want to know if Orlando capped it, the outside ticket sales. Like if you're not a supporters group or if you're outside the area, if they geo-blocked the ticket sales or if they opened it because I'm sorry, the attendance at the semifinal in Orlando was poor. It was absolutely inexcusable. You cannot have that. And I can guarantee you that if Sacramento and their fans have a chance to go and watch a match in Central Florida for a title, you don't think that as many people from that entire town will work their way over to try to get tickets to try to get into that venue? It could almost be a road game if Orlando doesn't play this the way that they think that it'll lay out.
Yeah, this is going to be insane. We'll see how that pressure works because we've seen games where Orlando folds under pressure. Has their staff gotten that out of their blood all the way? We'll see.
Yep. That's a show, sir, and that gets us into the weekend. So why don't you send us home?
Mucha plata, y'all.